Hello, this is Beth Jones at bethjones.net. I'm so excited to have you join me today, and I have a special guest that I'm very excited about. Karen, are you there?
I think I'm here.
Good. Well, I'm very excited because Karen does something very creative. I want to read her bio first. Karen is an author, artist, and creator behind the inspirational blog, The Finch's Nest. Her memoir, Bushel and a Peck, shares a heartfelt journey of healing and hope. In addition to writing, Karen crafts hand painted cards and bookmarks and finds creative expression through junk journaling. Her work resonates with readers seeking connection, inspiration, and creativity, and is very creative. I've seen pictures of it on Facebook. That's how I actually, quote, met Karen. I haven't met her in person, but I would love to meet her one day in person. But I've seen pictures of these and it intrigued me. The first way that I was drawn to Karen is cats. So if you're not a cat lover or you're allergic to cats, just hang on because we're going to be talking about other things. But that was how I was drawn to her because I have two cats. I've actually rescued about four or five cats, and she had some beautiful cats. So Karen, why don't you tell first of all about yourself, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into your cats and then what you do creatively.
Hi, Beth. Thanks so much for having me on today. This is very special and so glad we connected in Facebook. It is fun seeing your journey as well. And especially, like you said, we have that bond through the cats. Well, let's start back first. So my story is, I kind of liken it to my Bushel and a Peck memoir. I grew up with a mom who had mental illness, and it was a very, very tough upbringing. She was hospitalized many times, and my dad and my grandmother raised me. But there came a miracle a few years after that, and mom was well. We had a wonderful relationship after that. Unfortunately, just a few years ago, she had Alzheimer's dementia, so we lost her to that.
Mhm.
So that's, like I said, that's kind of what my memoir deals with, is my journey with the anxiety I've had, as a little girl who was raised without a mom at times. So a lot of that anxiety filtered into my life. I also had a major surgery when I was 13 years old. I had scoliosis, curvature of the spine, and it was a trying time because at 13, you're seeing all these other beautiful girls around you, having boyfriends and wearing makeup. And here I am with a crooked body wondering what is going on. And had to go through major surgery then and wear a body cast. So I felt very, very unaccepted for a long time. So that's why like I said, the book is The Journey to Healing. But I don't want to just talk about that. I've been in the dental field right now since 1979. Yes, I'm dating myself like a dinosaur. Um, but I love the dental field because it has given me a chance to connect with people, to be kind to them, because everybody's terrified to go to the dental office. And
Yes.
right. So I
I love
enjoyed
my dentists. I love my dentists, and they're Christians, so they make me feel so at ease, and they make sure I'm not in pain. So I love them. So I'm so glad you're there.
Oh, that is so nice. And I do pray, I pray before my work days as well. Like, I have a 25-minute drive to work, and I use that oftentimes as my prayer time. I will pray for my coworkers and, for the patients. And it's been a very rewarding career. I'm winding down. I'm getting to retirement age, but not quite yet. I'm going to hang in there a little bit. So there's that. But so you did ask about cats. I had beautiful long hair, domestic long haired cats, Bella and Rocco, brother and sister. They were litter mates, and we got them from kittens. And they were just beautiful, sweet cats. They didn't see a lot of people come into our house, so they were very strange with others, but they were very devoted to me. And both of them got sick last year. It was very, very odd. When I lost Rocco in July, Bella seemed to go downhill right away. I had a pillow made, a very special pillow made that looked just like Rocco, and I swear she slept by it all the time. I think her heart was as broken as mine.
Oh,
And
now were they Maine Coon? They look similar to my
no,
Maine Coon tabby mixed cat, but
I
they
I
look
know,
a
I
little
know.
Maine Coon.
Yeah, they were just domestic long hairs, is what I was told.
Okay.
Yeah, so I lost her then at Thanksgiving last year, and I did not expect that. I thought me and her were gonna, have a long time together, but they both had some stomach issues through the years, and unfortunately, it resulted in stomach cancer. So
Hmm.
you had asked me, how did I honor their memory? And of course, I had their remains cremated, and I have a special little place in a china closet, not only with their remains, but their paw prints, some fur clippings in an envelope, and a couple little special things that were their toys. So I get to see that stuff every day, and their little pillows that I had made. They were with me on the couch, and so I cuddle the pillows all the time.
Yeah, our pets are like family, really. Recently, my cat, she's an older cat, Natalia, she's a black cat with green eyes. She
Oh,
had to have dental procedures. She had, they told me one tooth removed, but when she went in, they winded up pulling a lot. And she
wow.
was there overnight. She's very attached to me and me to her. So I know
Yes.
she was so scared going in, but our pets are they're like family to us. So that's very hard. How did you get through that? Like you had your cats with you every day. How did you get through that trauma, that hurt?
So that's actually when I started the crafting. I've always been a crocheter. I enjoy crocheting in the wintertime because, the blanket's so heavy on you, like when I crochet these lap blankets. So I don't do them in the summer. So when Rocco went downhill and then ultimately Bella got sick last fall, I just started making these little bookmarks. I had a little craft journal that my husband had bought me, and I thought, let me look at it a little bit. And I started just putting these bookmarks together and finding that brought me joy, that brought me peace. So, and I know the Lord wants us to have good things and to enjoy beautiful things. And I
Yeah.
truly feel this has been a blessing. So it helped me through that stressful time to start crafting.
Do you have one of those bookmarks?
Yes. So let me see if I can show everybody. Can you see them?
Yes.
So
Beautiful.
some of these are hand painted. I use watercolor paints and put some
Okay,
embellishments
pick
on
it up
them.
a little. Pick it up a little, please. And yeah, bring it toward your camera. Yeah. And pick it up a little. Very nice. That's so creative.
So yeah, I do those, and then I hand paint cards as well. Can you see this?
Put it back a little away from the camera. Yeah, and pick it up a little bit. So pretty.
Yeah, so it's hand painted stuff, and they have, like I said, I embellish them with some fun things too. But it just, like I said, it's just a joy bringer. And I encourage anybody who's listening right now to find these little pockets of inspiration, these small joys in the journey. My husband is having a lot of health issues right now too. So we're unable to, go on grand trips and things like that. We take very small drives. He can't really even walk much. But I find that, the little bit that we can enjoy together. And then, like I said, I have these little things that just mean so much to me. And I would encourage others who maybe are stuck at home, a caregiver, you can find a couple of minutes of peace here and there to begin something like that.
Yes. Now, where do you get the materials for the journals? I wouldn't call them junk journals. I'd call them blingy or treasure journals because they look so pretty, blingy and nice and cute. Where do you get the materials? First of all, where do you get the journals? Where do you get the bookmark things and the tassels?
A lot of my stuff is purchased at Dollar Tree, and a lot of stuff
Yeah.
at Amazon. Some at Michael's craft store, although everybody knows that's quite expensive. So you don't have to make this an expensive hobby. And the reason they call it junk journaling is because you're using the junk that you have laying around your house, so to speak, to just, bling it up. And because I
Right.
I have all these crafts. It's like, oh, let me throw a few of those together. The journals themselves can be anything. I found out they can be composition books where you glue a few pages together to make them a little firmer. I sometimes will glue like light cardboard pages onto my paper so that I could begin to paste pretty things onto them. So the sky is the limit with your imagination.
What do you use? Super glue, or what do you use to glue the things on the journal?
No, I have an Elmer's craft glue that is incredible. So even if you cut ribbon and you want to like fasten ribbon to a page, that stuff adheres in under 5 minutes. So it's a wonderful craft glue. Like I said, an Elmer's craft glue.
And you get it at Walmart, Amazon, craft
Yeah,
stores.
all of the above. Yes.
Okay. Years ago, when we were first married, my husband Ray's mother, Judy, she made me a little Christmas tree, and it had bears all. I loved bears at that
Oh,
time. I still love them, but she put little building blocks and ribbons and musical instruments, all these cute
oh,
little things on the tree, and made it for me. It's so special. I put it out every Christmas, and
yes.
then years later, a couple of years ago, she died. Well, among her things were all these craft things, including little trees, little, like a little Christmas pine tree. So I
Yeah.
took her crafts and I glued them, and I made each of our children one, and our grandchildren, my
Oh,
husband, out of her crafts. And one
yes.
of our daughters, Eden, just cried because it was her Mimi's special crafts. But
Oh,
people can get
yes.
so creative with that. Do you give these away? Do you sell them on Etsy, your website? What do you do with them?
So I love how you just said that about things being special, like from, a loved one. And yes, oftentimes, the cards are given to somebody for their special occasions, couple of bookmarks thrown in for them, for a little gift. Maybe I'll start making these journals for my young nieces and granddaughters. Like that is such a great idea for the future. I don't sell. I'm going to go to a couple craft shows this fall, so I will be selling them there. And
Good.
my cousin's going to start an Etsy page in the fall. She said she'll feature some if I want. We'll see how it goes. But here's the
Yeah.
sad thing: I don't have a website any longer, Beth. I had to get rid of it a couple years ago. It was costly, and I had stopped writing. Unfortunately, my stepdaughter has it on hold. Like we still pay for the domain name, and if we want to bring it back, we can. But I share a lot of stuff on my blog, so unfortunately, I just use that as my page right now.
What is your blog through? I love WordPress. That's what I use. What is your blog?
Yes. Mine's on Blogger or Blogspot or whatever it's called. Blogger.
Do they allow you to sell it on there or give it away?
I don't have any problem. Like one time I was hand crocheting like purses, and I had a big post about that on there. Now I didn't sell one of them from it, but it got a lot of hits. Like it got thousands of views. So that was kind of cool. And nobody said not to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, the purses I can see with that too. You could, I mean, you're right. The sky's the limit. You could do all
Yeah.
kind of things with that. And also posting them on Pinterest or Instagram, different places. So I would encourage you to give them away as led by God, but also sell them. The labor is worthy of his or her
Yes.
wages.
Yes.
So yes, I would sell them. I would get a craft fair. I know we have a local farmers market that does crafts, so you
Yes.
could do things
Yes.
like how those are so creative. How can people get a hold of you to if they want one or several or the journals? How would they be able to do that?
If you don't mind if I give my email, I would love to hear
Yes.
from anybody in an email. So my email is quite unique. It shows my love of To Kill a Mockingbird, the book and the movie. So my favorite character was Scout. So here's my email. It's Scout, Scout, Finch, Finch 15003 at yahoo.com.
Okay, and I'll share that in the description box too
Thank
when this
you.
is published. So I appreciate that very much. Y'all be sure to check that out. And you have pictures on your Facebook of these as well, right?
Yes, yes. I think what I'm going to do, I will probably make a couple of blog posts and showcase a few of the things on there so people at least have a chance to see them, you know. But they can
That
check
would
me
be
out on
great.
Facebook, you know, just look up my name. I don't mind anybody, you know, reaching out in a private message ever. That would be very welcome.
Great. And do you have anything else to share, like a scripture or verse? Let's say there's someone out there that has lost their pet or
Mm,
just even a loved one. There, that creativity will help, I think, with the grief, but
yes,
also just blessing other people and ultimately glorifying God because He's very
yes,
creative. He's given us these gifts of speaking, writing, creativity.
yes.
What would you say to that person who is going through that pain? And the other question I had, do you think you'll ever have a cat again or another pet, or do you feel like it's just too much?
So the scripture that came to mind is one of my favorites. So do not fear, I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And that is so true. Like God held me through that loss, the loss of my parents 6 years ago when I lost both of them within just a few months of one another. And then Bella and Rocco within a few months of one another last year. God does hold us in his hands, in his arms. There are times I've felt a peace, Beth, sometimes in some of the most stressful moments. I have had peace wrap around me where it's God. You know it only can be God. So that's my encouragement to anybody going through anything right now, or once again, or caregivers who are perhaps at the end of their rope, because I do understand that as well. As far as a cat in the future, my husband and I, when he hopefully will start to feel a little better, we want to travel just a little bit. It's enjoyable to be able to just go places overnight without having to worry about who's going to feed Kitty, or whatever. That's the only reason I would love to probably have two again, so they have one another.
Mhm. Yeah, my daughter Leia, she just went to Omaha, Nebraska. We live in
Yes.
Kansas, Missouri area, and she went with her boyfriend to Omaha Zoo and aquarium, a
Uh,
botanical garden. She has two cats, Jackson Astrid. So I offered to cat sit for her because I knew she didn't want to put her cats in a kennel. So
right.
I did that for the weekend for her, and that way she had peace and the cats were happy at home. My husband took care of my two cats while I was gone. So yeah, you
That
always
is
want to
so
make sure
fun.
someone's taking care of them, but they're so special.
Yeah.
Cats are so special. Our pets are so very special to us. So I've loved watching your posts about that, and I have ached at times when you've shared about the cats, but I know that God is a healing God,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think it's wonderful what you're doing with these journals. And you're an author too, so are your books on Amazon?
Yes,
Or
yes.
where
My
are
books
they?
are, yes, on Amazon. Just look under Karen Malena and they're all there. I have some inspirational fiction books as well as the memoir, and I have a fun, silly cat book. Um, I wrote, I
I have
wrote
to
a
get that.
that it's so cute. It's about my son's cat, who sadly he lost just a few months before we lost Rocco last year. Her name was Piggy, and she really lived up to her name. She was adorable fat cat. And I used to have a Facebook page that I was Piggy, in other words, on the page. I made her talk. So I decided to write a book about that. And there's three separate parts to this book. The very first is how she came to find my son, how he got her as a rescue. So it's as
Yeah.
if Piggy the cat is telling the story herself. The middle part of the book is some silly cat poetry I wrote, and then pictures of my son Matt and Piggy. And the very last part of the book is an adventure story that Piggy might have enjoyed doing, being friends with a mouse named Melvin in her house, and they went on a crazy adventure together. So it's actually one of my favorite books. It's not only for kids; it is definitely for cat lovers too.
Yeah. and adventure lovers. So, did you
Very-
do the illustrations for that?
No, they're a lovely girl that is a fan of my son. My son is he's a professional YouTuber, content creator, and
Oh,
he has a lot of fans that do fan art for him. So she did a fan art of a cat playing a claw machine because my son does arcade games, and the cover is just the most creative piggy standing on her hind legs playing a claw machine, getting this mouse out of the claw machine. It's just adorable. So
it sounds so cute. That's great. I wrote a children's book years ago about my daughter's cat and my cat, and she did the cover for it, and then I hired an illustrator for the inside.
oh, nice. Yeah.
So cute.
Yep.
So
Cats
fun.
they're just amazing. And the one good thing though, Beth, is I get to love up a lot of other people's cats. My brother has three. So, when I need a kitty cat fix, there's where I head.
Yeah. How did you get started writing? Have you written for years?
No, I always wanted to. It was a dream since I was a little girl because I was an avid reader. And
Hmm.
I just loved adventure stories. And because I had the upbringing without my mom, a lot of the times, I created a lot of adventures in my head. And I just
Yeah.
thought I would just love to write these down. So that's what started finally. I joined a writers group, a local writers group, to learn a lot of the ins and outs because I didn't know a thing about it. And then one other wonderful thing is I wrote several articles for Guidepost magazines too, the Christian publication.
Yeah.
I've written in Mysterious Ways and Angels on Earth. I have maybe 8 different magazine articles in there. So that was like that's probably the thing I'm the most happy about was that. So
Yeah, because you want to be paid. Everybody knows if you're an author, you don't get rich writing books unless you're famous or, and so that's a way of getting paid. I need to check into that too, getting paid for your writing through Guideposts. And I have heard of that. I'm part of an online writers thing I've started checking out recently, and they've talked about that. So you have to
yes.
submit your writing to them, and then they email you back. Is that how it works?
Yes, yes. If you have, and they're very good about getting back to you. If they're going to accept something, they're wonderful about it. I've grown to know a few people in that community. There's guidelines when you go on their site, Beth. There's guidelines, that you must follow. You keep
Okay.
the stories kind of short, but I think it's called, is it Share My Story? Guidepost
Oh,
Share
love
My
that.
Story. So yeah, please do it. Oh gosh, I would look so forward to seeing some of your stuff in that.
Yeah, years ago I did a training online called Share My Story, so I really like that. So yeah,
Yes,
I'm gonna check that out and share that with other people too, because I
yes,
help speakers and authors start their craft. So
yes.
that sounds wonderful. So are you gonna continue to do that? Share your story in there?
If I can, I've shared so many of my biggest life stories, so it leaves a lot of the small things now. And if something would inspire me, I probably would share it again. Like, and oh, I think there's a pet thing too, Beth, with Guidepost. So
Yeah,
yeah, that would
Natalia
be,
would be famous.
you know,
Uh,
so hey, it's all good. So, but they're wonderful, like I said, to work with. So I encourage others who are creative writers. Don't feel like you have to write the great American novel. Get out there
right.
and write write something from your heart. If you write from your heart, and someone reads it, even a family member, and they're blessed by it, you've already done your job. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes. My sister has this expression, if you can just reach one person, that's all that
oh,
matters to God. So,
yep. And
um,
the other saying too, Beth, to some people, we're the only Bible they'll ever read. So,
yeah, amen.
yes.
Okay, well, anything else you want to share before we end today? And thank you so much for coming on. I
Oh,
can't wait to see pictures of your journals and bookmarks
yes.
and check into
Thank
that.
you so much. This was so fun. Yes, I do have some free short stories on a site called Booksy. That's Booksie. And Booksy has, authors can put free works out there. The fun thing about that site is you get to see how many hits, how many reads there are. So I have thousands of reads, which feels so good, and a lot of likes. So at least you're getting some feedback. I don't care about the pay. Those stories are out there. They're either touching someone or making them laugh a little. So that's, that's a fun place to write to, or to send your writing to.
I have not heard of that. Thank you for sharing
Yep.
that. All right, Karen, well, thank you so much. And thank you to the audience today for joining us. This is Beth Jones at bethjones.net. Be blessed and have a beautiful day or night.
Thank you. Nope.